Right now, as you're watching this, there's this invisible master program running on your computer that makes absolutely everything else possible. So today, we're going to unmask that silent powerhouse, the operating system.
I mean, have you ever really stopped and thought about that? How is your computer pulling all this off? You've got music playing, maybe a dozen different tabs open, you're typing out an email, but your computer only has a few main brains, a few CPUs. How on earth can it do so much, all at once?
Well, the answer is this incredible unsung hero working tirelessly behind the scenes. It's the master conductor of the orchestra, it's the traffic cop at the busiest intersection you can imagine, it's the ultimate manager of everything happening inside your machine. And we call it the operating system, or OS for short.
So, what is it really? At its core, the OS has two main jobs. First, it's a resource manager. It controls all the physical parts, your CPU, your memory, and decides which program gets to use what and when. And second, it acts as a go-between, creating a nice, stable platform for all your apps to run on, so they don't have to worry about the messy, complicated hardware underneath. Okay, so let's tackle that first huge puzzle the OS has to solve, juggling all those tasks. Seriously, how does it run your browser, your music player, and your email client all at the same time with just one CPU working on them? Well, here's the first clue. To the operating system, your running applications aren't just pretty little icons. Each one is what's called a process, basically a program that's actively running and needs resources. So your music player is a process, each browser tab could be its own process, and they are all lined up, demanding attention from the CPU. The secret to how the OS pulls this off? Well, it's not actual magic, but it is a very, very clever illusion. It's a technique called time sharing. See, the OS doesn't actually run everything at the exact same millisecond. Instead, it just makes it look like it does. Here's how that magic trick works. The OS gives one process a tiny, tiny slice of CPU time. We are talking milliseconds here. Then, bam, it instantly saves where that process was and switches to the next one in line, giving it a turn. It cycles through all the waiting processes so incredibly fast, thousands of times a second, that from our slow human perspective, it looks like everything is running smoothly and all at once. It's an amazing sleight of hand. And really, the goal of all this frantic switching is captured perfectly right here. The whole point is to give you the impression that the entire computer system is dedicated to his use. The OS works so hard in the background that you feel like you have the machine's full, undivided attention all to yourself. Okay, so if the OS is juggling all these different programs, a brand new problem pops up. If they're all running together, what's to stop a bug in your web browser from completely crashing your music player? Or even worse, taking down the entire system? How do you prevent total chaos?
This is where the OS puts on its protector hat. See, for any program to run, it has to be loaded into the computer's memory, or RAM. The OS acts like a super strict memory manager, giving each process its own private, fenced-off area to play in. It basically builds walls around each one, making sure that what happens in one program's memory stays in that program's memory.
But how does it actually enforce those walls? It can't just ask the programs to play nice. The secret is that the OS gets help from the hardware itself. There's a fundamental protection system built right in, a system with two totally different modes of operation.
And this separation is absolutely crucial. All your applications, your browser, your games, your text editor, they all run in what's called user mode. In this mode, their power is limited. They can't just go and talk to the hardware directly or mess with another program's memory. But the operating system, it runs in the all-powerful kernel mode. Here, it has full, privileged, almost godlike access to do anything it wants. This split is the very bedrock of a stable and secure computer.
All right, so we've seen how the OS juggles tasks and protects memory. But what about all of your stuff? Your documents, your photos, your apps? They all have to live somewhere permanently. And that brings us to the third big problem. How does the OS manage and find all that information?
To you and me, a file is just, well, a file. It's a document, it's a picture, it's obvious. But to the physical hardware, a disk drive is just a gigantic, messy collection of magnetic bits. The very idea of a file, a named collection of related data, is a totally abstract concept that's created and managed entirely by the operating system.
And the part of the OS that does this is called the file system. Think of it as the ultimate digital librarian. Its job is to manage the physical disk, organize everything into the neat folders and directories we all know, and control who gets to read, write, or run every single file.
It takes a chaotic sea of bits and turns it into an organized, searchable library.
So when you put this all together, it's pretty clear that the operating system isn't just one thing. It's this incredibly complex piece of software that has to wear a whole bunch of different hats to keep your computer humming along.
So let's recap. It's a master juggler, using time-sharing to create that amazing illusion of multitasking. It's a vigilant protector, using memory management and those dual modes to stop programs from running wild. And it's a meticulous librarian, using the file system to organize all of our data. All of these jobs have to work together perfectly to create this seamless experience we pretty much take for granted every single day.
And woven through every single one of these roles is one final, absolutely critical job: security. I mean, protecting processes from each other is one thing, but the OS also has to defend the entire system from malicious software and attacks from the outside world. It is the first and most important line of defense for your entire digital life.
At the end of the day, the operating system is the invisible foundation that everything, and I mean everything, you do on a computer is built upon. It's a true masterpiece of engineering that makes impossibly complex hardware feel simple, which leaves us with one last big thought. What happens when that foundation cracks? The answer to that question involves everything from frustrating system crashes to massive security breaches, and it's a powerful reminder of just how critical this unsung hero really is.